I'm the horny emoji.
I'm the guy with the cowboy hat emoji.
And today we're here to find out, is the Emoji Movie the greatest movie ever made?
Oh, great emojis! I thought the conversation just got dumber.
Welcome to the greatest movie ever made, the show where we watch a movie and tell you if it's the greatest movie ever made.
What is the horny emoji? Is it the peach? Is it the eggplant?
It's like the red face that's like sweating with the tongue out.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay.
A movie that is so thoroughly entertaining and compelling that while you're watching it, it's the only thing that matters in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I am David Scandura, joined as always by my co-host and guy who hates me right now because I made him watch the Emoji Movie, Justus Burkett.
Can I hit you with just a frigid take, an ice cold take about this film?
Yeah.
Bad, not good. Didn't like it. Thought it was not enjoyable. Yeah. I mean, so like on this podcast, we haven't really done this yet. So first of all, last week, episode 50 was Stone Cold, a big movie for us. But as you pointed out on that episode, that was actually the 49th film that we've covered on the show, because we counted our best of 2023 as an episode. So the Emoji Movie, is the 50th film we are covering, which seems wrong somehow. But also, like, we don't usually do this, where we pick a movie that we both know it. Well, I hadn't seen this movie before, but I didn't have to have seen it to know that this movie was probably going to be quite bad. And like, we've picked some movies that are like bad movies, but usually there is some kind of like redeeming factor to them. This is kind of the first time that we've intentionally just gone straight to Garbage Town, right? Like this,
I think so.
So, yeah.
Because, dear listener, this is not the first time I've seen the Emoji Movie.
Mm-hmm.
I, in fact, paid whatever it was, 10 of my own hard-earned dollars back in 2017 to see this in a theater with my brother and his friends on his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And there were children in the theater.
Yes.
And we laughed more than the children.
Well, I can't imagine that the children found this film very funny, because even to children, I can't imagine what is worth laughing at in this movie. In terms of like the jokes that they attempt, I'm like, when I was a kid, I don't know if I would have found this funny. You know? And especially because some of the jokes, they do the thing where they try and like do some of the jokes for the grown-ups, and like those fall flat too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, a kid's not even gonna get that joke, and also the joke sucks. You know? Like the like, woohoo, a board meeting or whatever, like all that shit that's in here. I'm like, no kid is gonna be laughing at that, and parents are just gonna be rolling their eyes and groaning. Like, who is it for? Who is this movie for?
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Inside Out, but evil.
Yeah. It is the twisted late capitalist demon version of like an Inside Out. It's I saw someone describe this movie as They Live for Kids, but from the point of view of the aliens. Which I thought was very funny, because I was like, yeah, there is sort of like a insidious, dark, like pro-consumerism streak to this thing as well, which is baffling.
It's a bizarre and utterly perplexing cultural product.
Yeah.
In so many ways that we'll get into. And dear listener, just to let you know, you do not have to watch the Emoji Movie.
I would argue that you shouldn't. Please don't.
If you value your life and you value your time on this earth, just don't.
Yeah.
Listen to our episode instead.
Yeah, we had to watch it to record this episode because we hate ourselves and each other. But you shouldn't watch the Emoji Movie. There's no reason for you to do that to yourself. We'll break it all down for you.
Justus, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I was shoving food into my face immediately before this record because I was like hit with like a weird my body sometimes does this thing where if I haven't eaten enough food, my heart starts racing and I start getting really sweaty and like trembly at the knees, and so that shit was happening to me. So then I like just loaded up on a bunch of calories before we started recording, and now I'm feeling better. For my week in general, it's been all right. There's nothing really special to report. I'm trying to think if I have any media recs. Oh, you know what? This is more the type of media rec that I would save for our Halloween horror-thon. However, I am thinking of it right now, and I got into it recently, so I'll just do it on this episode. People who are regular listeners to this show know that I'm a fan of horror fiction podcasts. I picked up on a new one, Asaphale Horror Fiction. And it's all just one guy who writes and voices the stories. Good shit. It's kind of like Lovecraftian and cosmic horror a lot of the time. And his stories are like a little bit more like thinkers than like your standard kind of creepypasta fare. So good horror fiction podcast. Check that out if you want to get some audio spooks going on. David, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Had a good week. I have recently accepted a couple new roles in some plays, some relatively small roles, which is nice. I felt like I got a bit of the acting bug after doing Julius Caesar, and was like, I don't know what the next thing is going to be, but I need something creatively to get me through fall and winter. And I thought that was going to be music that I'm working on. I still will be doing that. But I found that acting in the play was a good way to express the more extroverted side of myself, which I don't usually get the chance to.
Yeah.
So getting the opportunity to act a little bit more in the coming weeks is something that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
I watched Prometheus the other night, and then which is due for a rewatch if you guys don't like that movie. I know there's a big Prometheus resurgence, in the Alien fandom. But after that, I started playing Dead Space again, and what a fucking horrifying game.
Yeah, I as again regular listeners to this show will know about me. I'm not a gamer. I haven't played a video game in a very, very long time, but I was a big Dead Space fan when it came out, which was more my video gaming days. And I remember because it left a big impression. Like I would like play Dead Space like at night with the lights all off, and shit's fucking scary, dog. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been playing that. So Dead Space.
The video
decade
game plus old video game Dead Space.
They did a remake recently. If you have a newer console, I don't.
Yeah.
So I've just been playing my copy that I bought years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We can't put this off any longer.
Yeah. From the director of Lilo and Stitch 2 comes the Emoji Movie.
The Emoji Movie.
AFI Top 100, Academy Award nominated, Criterion Collection.
What if the little faces that we texted each other were actually living little people in our phones who had a society entirely based around conformity and the fact that they all have to just do the one job, like some kind of horrific Twilight Zone mirror of our own reality where we go to work in cubicles every day. What if that, but a movie for children, David?
I remember my parents were asking me about this movie after my brother and I saw it. And they were like, so what's the message? Like, what's the point of it? And I'm like, the message is literally just be yourself. And they're like, no, it has to be more complex and deep than that. There has to be something else. I'm like, no, it's just be yourself.
I would argue that the message is, in fact, be yourself, but it is be yourself in a more, again, evil, consumerist, late capitalism way, which is be yourself, and then you'll be happy working in your little cube, right? It's like, well, if you're trying to work in your little cube as a conformist drone, you clearly won't be happy. But if you can be yourself and slave away in your little cube, then that's where true happiness lies, and you can just be a productive member of the system that we all are forced to participate in, right? I'm like, that it feels like the be yourself message is stymied here by the fact that he just goes to work in the cube like he's supposed to be doing from the very beginning, right? And potentially puts other people out of a job, because it seems like because he's the catch-all emoji who can just make all the faces at the end, what use is there for any of his colleagues? he's just gonna become the figurehead of a totalitarian emoji regime where everyone else is subjugated due to lack of use. at the end of this. That would be my vision for an Emoji Movie 2.
Emoji Movie 2
yes,
is
just
like
Gene goes mad with power.
1984.
Yeah, because he's the only emoji that's getting used, and he just like purges the other emojis.
Yeah, so the overarching story here is there's this fucking kid named Alex, and he has a girl that he likes, and they're texting back and forth. And apparently, according to the monologue delivered by actual human poop emoji, TJ Miller, who plays Gene,
didn't care.
Emojis are like the most purest form of communication.
Right. Yeah. Because it's a universal language that I don't necessarily think is incorrect. Emojis are kind of like the draw of emojis is that they kind of transcend written language, right? It's like, oh, that's a little face. I can recognize the expression there. And whether I'm an English speaker or whether I speak some other language, like the message is going to translate, right? So like, I get that. It's a very surface level observation about emojis, as is when they're all in fucking class and the teacher is teaching a class about hieroglyphics and being like, and so that's on the nose, right? We're in the Emoji Movie. The teacher's teaching a class about Egyptian hieroglyphics. It's like, yes, I get it. Picture language. Like, please. But then, because this movie is literally incapable of not hitting you over the head with absolutely everything it even attempts to say, whether it's a punchline to a joke or a quote-unquote theme, and I use that word very loosely, it has to take it one step further. And the teacher's like, so do these hieroglyphics remind anybody of any picture language we all might have on our phones? Anyone? And I'm like,
in defense of that teacher,
yeah,
high school freshmen are fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if it's a real thing, because when we were freshmen in high school, like smartphones weren't even really a thing yet. We were like doing T9 texting.
Yeah,
back then.
Yeah,
right.
If you were really hot shit, you had a BlackBerry.
Right, and so it's like, back when we were freshmen in high school, the youth culture was not as phone centric as it purportedly is now, right? And so some of the stuff in this movie, I was like, is this really how high schoolers would be in this situation? Like, Alex's phone keeps making noises and like playing songs and sending weird emojis and shit, and everybody's like making fun of him for his phone fucking malfunctioning. And I'm like, that seems like a weird thing to bully your classmate for, to be like, oh, his fucking phone is playing music out loud. Look at that dork. And I'm like, I guess high schoolers will just find any reason to bully each other.
Yeah.
But it did strike me as weird, where I was like, it's clearly just his phone acting up. Like, why is he the object of so much derision because his device is misbehaving? I don't know.
Well, there's moments where this movie almost seems like it's trying to make a point about consumerism and about addiction to technology, because every single fucking background kid in this movie, whenever we're out of the phone world and we're in the real world, has a fucking phone glued to their face.
Right.
They do a joke where two people are texting and they bump into each other.
Yeah.
And it's like you're almost trying to make a comment about this, but it's like, but the whole messaging of the movie otherwise and everything else around it completely negates that.
Yeah, they completely undercut it by basically being like, and your phone is full of little people who you should feel empathy towards. And also all of the apps on your phone are magical little worlds that you can and should want to get lost in. Right? Like, it's like, okay, well, if you're saying like, oh, these fucking teenagers with their fucking smartphones, right? If they, like, that's the message you're trying to send here, it's like, then don't make the fucking Spotify world like a magical paradise. Like, it's so stupid. It's whatever. So yeah, inside Alex's fucking phone, there's a town full of emojis. Textopolis is what this shit's called. The animation in this movie is not good. This movie looks bad to me. Which it's like, this is like a Sony Pictures release, Columbia Studios, right? Which, by the way, the fucking Columbia logo at the beginning, they do the thing where they do a special logo for the movie. So someone takes a picture of the fucking Statue of Liberty and the Columbia logo and puts the sunglasses emoji over her face.
That was the moment when my eyes rolled back in my fucking skull, and I realized what I had done to us.
Yeah.
The fate that I had chosen for us.
Anyway.
Happy TGMEM-iversary, Justus.
Thanks. Wow, thank you so much for this gift. Yeah, so the fucking Emoji Town kind of looks like shit. The character designs are really boring and bland.
It's all just like the bare minimum animation.
And there's like money behind this movie. This was not like a cheap movie.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you couldn't have at least made it look good or interesting. I kind of think the only things where the design is somewhat interesting, and they're not always the worst thing to look at, is the fucking bot guys. The antagonists of the movie, the normal ones, their design is kind of like lame and basic. Like it just looks like every fucking evil robot from everything. But I like the big one that's made out of cubes. Like that's at least somewhat interesting to look at visually. But like that's like the only thing in this movie where I was like, okay, I can see some creative effort maybe went into that. And all the rest of it, I'm just like when they want to make something look cool in this movie, the way that they do it is like, let's just make it shiny. Mm-hmm. Right? Like when they go to the fucking cloud, it's like the design is not interesting or inspired. It's just everything is glowy and colorful. And I'm like, that doesn't take you that far. You know? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean there's a little bit of like creativity with the piracy app where they walk in and it's like a seedy bar with a bunch of viruses and stuff. But even then it's like it's the bare minimum of what you need to get kids to like look at your movie for a little while.
Right. It's very lowest common denominator.
Yeah. It's like sub-Illumination Entertainment, and Illumination is known for being a really cheap animation company.
Yeah.
It's so uninspired and bland. And I like that High Five has this fucking Band-Aid on him that I hate so much. It's so stupid. But the reason it's there is so that you know that it's him, because he has such a generic, boring character design that they don't want you to confuse him with the other emojis.
Right. They were just like, well, throw a blue Band-Aid on him so we all know that that's fucking James Corden before he opens his mouth and sounds like James Corden.
Anyway. This voice cast, since we're here, since you brought him up, this voice cast is fucking asleep at the wheel.
Yeah, I completely agree. I do think Maya Rudolph is coasting through this thing, but she's still, I think, is maybe the highlight for me.
Yeah, Maya Rudolph, I feel like, has a tendency to show up in anything.
Yeah, and I do think without her in this movie, it is even worse. Because I was like, well, at least this voice performance is something. You know? I also think Anna Faris as Jailbreak is okay.
Yeah.
But
what if an emoji was goth and kind of hot?
Yeah. And I like Anna Faris in like I haven't seen her in a lot of things, but when she has popped up in like comedy stuff that I've seen, I'm like, oh yeah, Anna Faris, she's all right. Yeah, you already mentioned T.J. Miller is our protagonist in this film, and just hearing his voice for 90 minutes was incredibly grating to me.
Yeah,
I have never been a T.J. Miller fan even before the allegations. Right? He's been canceled.
Yes. That's
just don't like hearing his voice. He doesn't bring a lot to this. He sounds like he is borderline catatonic here. James Corden, I found to be worse. He's quite annoying in this movie.
I really wanna kill that little fucking hand that's bouncing around this movie.
Yeah, High Five is one of the worst animated characters that I have seen, at least in recent memory. Just truly insufferable.
Yeah.
And he's the one who's like the main comic relief of the kind of the movie in general, but like definitely of our main party who's on our little adventure here. And when I say that like nary a joke even got me to crack a smile from James Corden in this movie, like I'm so serious about that. Like I was just stone-faced watching this fucking little hand's antics. And I was just like, I feel like I am in Guantanamo Bay and someone is holding my eyelids open and torturing me with this. It's awful.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Yeah. So we're in fucking Textopolis.
Yeah.
And the opening 5 minutes are just a bunch of puns related to emojis, and guess what?
Yeah.
That's the joke for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of monkeys, and they're like, "What are you up to?" Monkey business.
Yeah.
But
the
one joke that gets close to doing something for me in this movie, actually, there's two. Is when he bumps into the emoticons. And it's the joke is that they're the elderly.
Oh, yeah.
Which also makes me feel like I'm 31 years old watching the Emoji Movie.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah. Yeah, that's sort of something almost.
Yeah.
Also, like, is one of these jokes kind of racist? I'm trying to remember which one. He says konnichiwa to the sushi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the fucking fried shrimp is Australian for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You throw me on the Barbie or whatever, and then he jumps into a shrimp cocktail.
Yeah, it's dumb
car.
as hell.
What's
your favorite emoji, David?
My favorite emoji?
Yeah.
The one that I actually use?
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting question. I do use the cowboy hat one a lot.
Yeah, I like that one.
A lot of times I'll just do two pointing emojis. So I'm doing finger guns.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Actually, no, the salute one. The like half face salute.
Yes, the saluting one I also use all the time.
That's a good one.
It's good. Yeah, I like the kind of downcast face with the hang loose emoji.
Yeah.
Like I always pair those two with the face that looks like a little bit like somber. And then the hang loose hand, just because I think that's a very funny pairing of emojis. To be like, I'm sad, but I'm also vibing. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, he's in fucking Textopolis. He's a malfunction. Gene is a malfunction.
Gene's a malfunction.
He can't be meh.
He's the meh emoji, and his parents are the meh emoji. Played by Stephen Wright and Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah.
Stephen Wright just doing his thing, and I mean, God bless him, but I hope he got a nice check for this movie.
I hope everybody except TJ Miller got a nice check for this movie.
Jennifer Coolidge, who I find to be one of the most annoying people on the planet. Shockingly, I guess that's a controversial take because everyone I know loves her.
I have no strong feelings about Jennifer Coolidge one way or the other.
But yeah, Gene's a malfunction. He can't be meh. He has too many emotions.
You know what's a bad decision in this movie?
Yeah.
Making 3 of the main characters that you follow have their primary emotion be totally like unconcerned and apathetic.
But it's funny when they are expressing their innermost emotions and feelings in the most deadpan and monotone way possible, Justus.
Is it?
It's a funny joke.
Is it?
It's a funny joke, and we're going to use it 50 times in the script to let you know how funny it is.
During the like movements of this movie where it's Gene's parents just like looking for him and just talking in like blasé monotone at each other, like just Stephen Wright and Jennifer Coolidge just delivering their lines as if they're just reading them off the page and applying absolutely no character to them whatsoever. I was like, this almost is a creative decision that is so bad I have to admire it. Where it's like, let's make this animated children's film intentionally extremely boring at this part of the movie, and that's the joke. Can you believe how boring this is? And I was like, yeah, movie, I can believe how boring it is. Why did you think this was a good idea? Like, okay, yes, I'm now bored and I'm mad at you for doing this on purpose. It's like, it's not even boring on accident. They're boring you intentionally. Yeah, so he can't be meh.
He can't be meh.
He has too many feelings.
He has too many feelings. The way that texting works is that they have like a command center where all of the emojis line up, like on a Hollywood Squares style board,
like
and then a big robot hand picks them.
Yes, and then scans their face, and that's the emoji that you send in a text message.
Mm-hmm.
This is both incredibly convoluted and like weirdly like complex as the device for like how this all works, and also just like dog shit stupid. It's like a weird pairing of like, you thought about this so much, and the thing that you thought so much about ended up being just the dumbest way I could imagine this happening. With this Hollywood Squares ass thing where they scan the emoji's face and shit.
Well, I think it's probably because some fucking fat cat at Sony Pictures was like puffing on a cigar one day and was like, so we need to make a fucking movie about emojis for the kids.
Yeah.
Hire some screenwriters and fucking threaten to kill their families if they don't give us a script. And then the screenwriters are just like, okay, we have to fucking make this thing work somehow.
Yeah.
And give it some sense of logic.
Yeah.
And narrative. So they just...
Which they... I would say fail at extremely obviously, because like the whole thing is like, oh, these are all like the little people who live inside your phone. But then like later on there's like internet trolls, and I'm like, those are actual human beings writing shit on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
They don't live in your phone.
Yeah.
Where the fuck are those guys coming from? There's so many like internal inconsistencies in the world that they try and set up that it just all ends up just falling apart.
Yeah.
Right? And like, why do you have to play the game in the Just Dance app, but then Spotify is like a land completely devoid of sentient life where you just cruise down song rivers? Like, it's just like some of the worlds have inhabitants, some of them don't. None of it makes any goddamn sense.
Yeah, you have to go through certain apps to get to others. Or you can run between the apps in on the background of the phone. And then at the end of the movie, when he's trying to delete his phone, unplugging it just magically makes everything reappear again.
Yeah.
This also one thing that I found funny is when we have like a zoomed out view of his phone and we see all of the apps that are listed. There are ones in there that are real apps. Like you see Snapchat and Discord and all of those. And then there's a bunch of fake ones that don't exist.
Yes.
And they're mixed in with the real ones. And also, this kid has a shitload of apps. I don't know what kind of phone has this kind of memory.
Yeah, he has too many apps. Also, we might as well talk about this now. I plan to bring it up later when they left Textopolis. But I know this is a family film. I know they couldn't do it. However, I cannot get it out of my head that there is just a shocking lack of pornography on this teenage boy's phone. They're exploring the far corners of his phone, his trash, his Dropbox, his YouTube, and I'm like, there should be way more tits and asses that they are encountering on this journey. This kid is a freshman in high school with a smartphone. Like, why when they go into the trash is it not just chock full of fucking screen recordings from browsers?
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, this kid's living in 2017, and all he needs to connect to, a world of carnal delights is an internet connection on his phone. The kid's living in a paradise.
Yeah, when they go into the piracy app, it should just be like brimful of whatever the character equivalent is in this film of a Chatterbait ad.
Yeah, they have a joke in there where it's like, what would a teenage boy want to hide from his parents?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god, are they going to do a porn joke?
And that's the thing, they acknowledge it. They made me think about it.
Yeah.
With that joke. And then I'm like, where is all the porno? It would be here. They're like wandering around the home screen trying to get to the fucking Dropbox app, and they're like, oh, what's in this app? Oh, Pornhub?
They go into the Photos app and they go to the hidden section and they try to hack their way into it. And then there's
a shortcut to Dropbox from the hidden photo album.
And just pictures of, his friends on Instagram in bikinis and shit.
Yeah. That's what should be on this phone. We never see anything like that because this is a family.
Emoji Movie too. We can add that into the 1984 dystopian plot.
Yeah, the emojis have to flee Textopolis because of Eugene's reign of terror, and then they have to like find all the fucking like porno characters from all of the various seedy corners of Alex's phone and band together to take back Textopolis.
Yeah.
They have to enlist, an anime lady with huge tits and a giant cock getting fucked by an octopus to come take back Textopolis.
Rule 34, Lola Bunny. We need you.
Yeah. Anyway.
So Gene gets picked, and it's like his first day on the job, so he gets picked on the phone, and he messes up because he can't be meh, and everyone freaks out and panics. And the other part that almost made me laugh in this movie is Patrick Stewart saying, "Oh shit."
Yeah, the Patrick Stewart poop emoji thing.
The joke is that Patrick Stewart is voicing the poop emoji, Justus.
Yeah,
that's the joke.
Again, I hope he got a massive paycheck for this. It seems like this was about 90 minutes of work for him. It seems like he went into the studio for an afternoon and knocked out like 8 line readings and was fucking out of there.
Oh, I think he recorded this on his phone on a lunch break.
Yeah.
It's like, we have 7 poop jokes for you to say, yes, Sir Patrick Stewart. In between, if you can find time during your production at the Royal Shakespeare Company to send these in to us.
The one and only joke that kind of almost worked for me, but I still did not smile or laugh at, is when the devil emoji touches the Patrick Stewart poop emoji and then looks at his hand and kind of shakes it off because he's got shit on his hand.
I feel like they do that a few times, though.
Almost funny. Well, that was maybe the first time it happened.
Okay. When I noticed that, I was like, I feel like they've done that a few times where someone like touches him or almost touches him and then they let their hands off.
Every single time he speaks, it's just another poop joke. And don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of poop jokes. Poop humor usually works for me. These are just bad poop jokes. I think it's just lazy poop writing.
I think when we saw this in the theater, we probably laughed the most of the poop jokes.
Yeah. It's almost something when the devil emoji again says, "You've gone soft, poop," and he says, "Not too soft, I hope." That's almost something.
Yeah, when they're when he and his son poop emoji are like getting ready for the day, and they're like, "We're number 2. We're number 2." That's almost something. They're all almost something.
The poop jokes are almost something, partially because Patrick Stewart, even though he is sleepwalking his way through this, still like he's got the Patrick Stewart voice.
Yeah.
And so it's like, well, at least that was like an actor reading this poorly written lazy poop joke. Anyway.
So yeah, he can't Gene can't be meh.
No.
And he screws up the text that Alex is sending to the girl, Addie. That's her name.
Yeah.
So Smiler is the smile emoji played by Maya Rudolph, and she's like in charge of everything.
Yeah.
And she's basically the antagonist of the movie. So she basically is like, "Oh, well, you're a malfunction, so we're gonna take you out back and fucking shoot you."
I do appreciate that Gene throughout this movie is just unambiguously being threatened with death. I do think that's at least kind of something where it's not like, we're gonna make you work a shittier job in Textopolis, or we're gonna make it so that you never go back to the cube if you don't. It's like, no, we're going to end your life. We're gonna liberate your soul from your body.
We're gonna send these like Terminator robots after you, and they're going to fucking delete you. And we see emojis and viruses or various computer programs get fucking deleted in this movie, and it's basically like they're just getting killed.
And then they undercut it though when we go to the trash and they're just all there.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks. Like it's funny when the robot dudes go into the piracy bar and just start blowing these dudes away and like turning them all into like little red pixels. And I was like, oh, they're like killing characters in this movie. That's maybe something. And then we go to the trash and they're all there and they're like all still alive. And I was like, well, that's you almost had something. And then you were like, no, we don't actually have something. This is the Emoji Movie. We have nothing to offer you. So he goes on the run because he's going to get deleted.
He's going to get deleted, and Smiler threatens him with the robots.
Yeah, and so basically he's like, I have to find this hacker. First he teams up with the fucking James Corden.
He teams up with James Corden.
High five.
And they go to like the what is it, the loser room?
The loser room with all the emojis that are not used. This is basically the whole conceit here, is that the emojis that are used the most, the favorites, right, have the highest status in this society. And then the ones that are never used are like the bottom tier, the bottom echelon of this society. And they have like this lounge that they all kind of hang out in and commiserate together about never being used.
Yeah.
One of the ones that is in the loser's room is the eggplant emoji, which I'm like, bull fucking shit. This is a teenage boy's phone.
Have you been on porn Twitter?
Yeah.
That shit is all over porn Twitter.
Literally, absolutely not in a million years is a 15-year-old boy not using the eggplant emoji in 2017. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, so their hangout is like a basement with, I think, like a ping pong table and pizza.
Yeah.
And a couple like arcade game machines or something like that.
Yeah, like two of the emojis are playing Tetris.
Yeah.
Or no, it's Pong.
Yeah, they're playing
Pong.
They're playing Pong. That's right. That's the joke.
Yeah. Because get it, it's an old game.
Yeah, it's old. It's technology. Wow.
Old technology, silly. New technology, good.
It looks more fun than the actual VIP lounge.
Yeah.
Like, I think I would probably rather hang out in the losers dungeon.
That's true.
If I lived in Textopolis.
Yeah. And so then the fucking high five is basically like, well, we got to find a hacker who can like hack your code and turn you into a conformist little drone like you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And high five is like, and also they can make me a favorite again, because apparently Alex used to be using the high five emoji but stopped. So they go on this quest to find a fucking hacker.
Yeah.
And they go to the piracy app.
Yeah, well, they wander through the phone and you see all the apps of these big
the home
individual
screen,
worlds,
or the wallpaper, or whatever they call it.
There's a really brief moment where they wander into Facebook. And Gene's like, everyone on there's just talking about themselves.
Not enough racism when they enter the Facebook app.
Yeah, especially these days.
Yeah, both the Facebook app and the YouTube app. I was like, okay, but where is the racist content?
But there's a moment where it's like they almost get close to saying something.
Yeah.
Where James Corden's like, or Gene says something like, does he really know all those people? Like, does he really have all those friends? And James Corden's like, no, not really, but that's not what matters. What matters is likes and popularity. And like, that feels like it's trying to be a critique, but they just kind of leave it hanging and never comment on it again.
Yeah.
And makes it sound like that's the actual message that they're wanting kids to get out of this movie.
Yeah. Well, and also, like, the whole thing with High Five's character is that he is entirely driven by like popularity, right? He just like wants everybody to like him, and he wants to be fucking top dog, right? And so that line coming from him, like, it reads as sincere because that's what he actually believes. The movie never corrects the character for believing that. The movie is basically like, oh yeah, and High Five ends the movie as like Gene's little best friend who helped him save the fucking world inside this teenage boy's phone. And he just is popular and everybody likes him.
Yeah.
So he gets exactly what he wanted. And it's like, yeah, so we're just not saying anything to kids about how like being entirely driven by like the pursuit of like status and recognition and popularity is bad and needs to be corrected. It's like, no, that's a valid way to live your life according to the Emoji Movie.
Yeah, so they go to the piracy app, which, again, like, I don't know what this is supposed to represent.
I don't know. It's masked as another... It looks like a dictionary app, but then it's actually a piracy app.
They walk in and it's a bar, and
yeah.
there's viruses and spam emails, and Trojan Horse is the bartender.
Yeah.
And they're looking for a hacker, and they find one named Jailbreak, played by Anna Faris, which, again, is like, what if a goth emoji was hot?
Yes. And it's the classic thing of like, she's a little rough around the edges, this one, and it's like, well, can you help us? And she's like, no, fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say something that can, Gene mentions that he's a malfunction. And she's like, ooh, a malfunction. You're a real fucking weirdo. I guess I'll take your case. So it's actually because she's like, oh, you can make all the faces to get past the firewall or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
It's poorly defined, believe it or not.
The plot of this movie is they're going to get to Dropbox.
Yes. Dropbox. As everybody who uses a smartphone knows, everyone's favorite app, the most popular app, Dropbox. I don't have Dropbox on my phone.
No.
Why does this 15-year-old boy have Dropbox?
I don't know. I don't know that I want to know.
Yeah.
But yes, like Frodo's journey to Mount Doom.
Yes. They have to get
we are
to
Dropbox the phone to get to Dropbox.
TM. Yeah, so they fucking go back at... Well, the robots show up.
The robots show up to start to attack the bar,
Yeah,
to attack the piracy app and start shooting people.
Yeah, they shoot some of the trolls and shit. Again, there's trolls in this piracy app. Doesn't make sense. Trolls are human beings. These are little goblin people who live in a phone.
Yeah, and they look like like internet trolls you would expect, like neckbeards, except they're like they're green goblin things.
Yeah. There's also there's like a spam email in here.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of stupid.
Yeah.
So yeah, the bar is under attack by these robot dudes,
and they fall into Candy Crush somehow. And then the Candy Crush logo pops in front of the screen.
I think I had repressed, David, the Candy Crush sequence of this movie until you just said it right now. I watched this movie last night. I think I just like had blocked that out because I was like, oh yeah, and the next thing is like they go into YouTube or whatever. No, you're right. The next thing is Candy Crush, which so the first 30 minutes of this movie are very bad. It's bad and not enjoyable. However, this movie hits it makes you long for those first bad 30 minutes as soon as this Candy Crush shit starts, because it just turns into an ad for a mobile game as part of a feature animated family film. I felt like I was stuck in an unskippable ad.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, what is happening? Literally now they're just explaining how to play the mobile game Candy Crush to you as dialogue in this film. I have to listen to James Corden explain the rules of Candy Crush now. And this is a motion picture, I guess.
Yeah, we have to spend 5 minutes playing Candy Crush because this is the best thing that we have as an action sequence, as a plot point in this movie.
And like David said, the logo pops up in front of the screen and an announcer voice goes, Candy Crush! Like, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? So they play, because Gene gets fucking stuck in the Candy Crush. They play Candy Crush to get him out. It fucking sucks and it's stupid. I do kind of think it's funny when Anna Faris's character has like, because they're trying not to match Eugene because he's yellow with any of the yellow candies, because he'll pop or whatever. And I like the thing where he's like down at the bottom and she's like, well, maybe we should match you up with those because then you'll go in the special candy bowl or whatever the hell. And he's like, well, what if I don't? And she has like this little premonition of him just fucking exploding. That is like, again, almost something.
When it turns into emoji body horror for a second.
For like half a second. And I was like, see, again, almost something. I know that this children's movie isn't actually going to blow up TJ Miller, though. And I really, really wish it did. So it's almost more insulting that they, like, teased me with that. They were like, what if we blew up TJ Miller horrifically? And I was like, that would be something movie. And then they're like, nah, just kidding.
I don't want to, like, play my hand on the verdict of this movie too soon, but, I mean, it's the fucking Emoji Movie.
Yeah.
But every time this movie gets close to doing almost something...
Yeah.
It is completely negated by, like, just the maelstrom of shit and cynicism and corporate greed that is soaked into every fiber of this movie's being.
It's basically
so anything positive that I have to say about it, even if it's like, oh, this character design is kind of interesting, this joke is almost something, it, like, is completely negated by everything else in the movie.
Right, because it's like anytime the movie gets, like, approaches a creative decision that is maybe something that would be interesting to a viewer, the movie has to remember that it's a commercial.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, but actually we can't go in an interesting angle with this because it turns out we're a Spotify commercial, right? And so it's like, well, now we have to just like play by commercial rules and be like, everything is happy and fun and nothing can be bad.
Yeah.
So... yeah, he gets a fucking Candy Crush. James Corden's eating a bunch of candy. You know what I really, really hate in this movie? How this James Corden hand animated character moves his fucking pinky. He's moving his pinky because he's a hand.
Yeah.
He's moving his pinky in ways that pinkies cannot move.
He's gesturing with his pinky like it's his
like it's his other arm.
Yeah.
Like his thumb is his one arm, and that makes sense anatomically. But then his pinky moves like another thumb on the other side of his hand, and it was making me like sick to my stomach watching this pinky move around like that. I was like, that is very disgusting for my brain to picture a pinky articulating that way. There are times when he like in exasperation, puts both of his arms down at his sides. But his arms, again, are a thumb and pinky finger. So his pinky just swings down fully to, like, the bottom side of his hand.
Like hyperextends.
Yes. And I'm like, that shit's broken, dog. You're not getting that back up. It's fully dislocated.
I also like that even though this is James Corden voicing an animated character that is anthropomorphized but not really humanoid in any way.
Yeah.
We're still making fucking fat jokes.
Yep, it's like,
we're still like,
hey, what if a hand
this
was
fucking
fat?
British talk show host voicing this fucking hand is still gonna be a fat piece of shit eating candy in the Candy Crush app, and we're gonna have him throw up a piece of candy corn not once but twice.
The first time he throws up that piece of candy and then very, very slowly.
Oh, and they spend 10 seconds of my only life watching them.
Yeah.
Draw out this joke.
Yeah. The first time, it almost veers into the... If they had extended it another 5 seconds, I think it would have veered from, like, unfunny, obvious joke into, like, absurdist territory.
Yeah.
And I might have actually found that funny. Because he does, like, shove it into his mouth extremely slowly. This regurgitated candy corn. But it's not funny because this movie is incapable of that. So
a couple other subplots that are like thrown in here.
Yeah.
Alex makes an appointment to go get his phone checked out at the phone store because
making random noises.
Making
and
weird
that's
noises.
So embarrassing. The
Yeah.
girls, Addie will never like me if my phone plays music at random.
Yeah. It doesn't matter and it's stupid.
Also, these kids' voice performances, Alex and Addie and all the other kids, all bad. There's like no good voice performances in the human characters of this movie. Where anytime like we're in the human world and they're talking, I was like zoning out because I was just like, none of these actors grab me at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the main plot is bad enough, but then both of these subplots with Alex and then Jean's parents are just like, we're really trying to stretch this thing out to fucking 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And the movie slows to a crawl when this happens. So Jean's parents go looking for him. They have a fight, which is funny because they deliver the whole fight in monotone. They go to YouTube, and guess what? Guess what this movie picks as the video playing on YouTube to represent the YouTube app? Pineapple Apple Pen.
Pineapple Apple Pen.
Remember Pen Pineapple Apple Pen?
Yeah, I certainly do. And I was like, yes, this film came out in 2017.
It was outdated when it came out.
Yeah, but probably when it was written and storyboarded or whatever, they were like, that was probably the biggest video in the world. But the people who made this movie don't understand how the internet works, and that would already be old by the time the movie came out.
I guess they didn't have Rick Astley money to get, Never Gonna Give You Up or something playing. Or...
Also, I feel like a teenage boy having the Facebook app on his phone in 2017, also a little outdated. Because like young people aren't on Facebook as much, I think.
Yeah, I would say so. I think we were starting to get off of Facebook around that time.
Yeah. But anyway, yes, it's Pen Pineapple Apple Pen, and it's not like an animated version of the video. It's literally they just play the video. There are multiple like just frames of the movie in this YouTube scene where it is just full screen. They just cut in a YouTube video. Mm-hmm. Like they're just filling the entire frame with footage that they just pulled straight from YouTube.
It should have been like Salad Fingers or Llamas with Hats or something.
It would have been so fucking funny if it was Salad Fingers. They go into the YouTube app and he's like, I like rusty spoons. Hubert Cumberdale, you taste like soot and poo.
Oh man,
I love Salad Fingers.
I've only seen that first one, the Rusty Spoons.
Rusty Spoons.
Man, the early internet was just something else.
You know what? If this was, I didn't have a smartphone when I was a freshman in high school.
Nor did I.
But if I had a smartphone and the little people who were living in my phone went into my YouTube app, what they would have found is fucking Happy Tree Friends.
Oh, yeah.
They would have walked into the YouTube app and it would have been like little cartoon characters fucking like vomiting their guts out and getting cut in half and shit. Because that's what I was fully in on Happy Tree Friends at like 14.
Yeah, I was in on Happy Tree Friends around that time too. Or they go to like albino black sheep or something and it's just the end of the world.
Yeah,
I am retired. Okay, take a nap. Then fire the missiles.
Missiles. Yeah. It would have been funny if it was like if there was such a thing as a smartphone from when we were teens that they could have based this movie around, and like they're going into like E-Bomb's world and like the Chive and shit.
4chan?
4chan.
Oh no.
Oh man, if this it would, you know what we should also save for the Emoji Movie too. Alex gets the Reddit app on his phone, and the characters can go into Reddit.
Wow, it looks like Alex has been looking at a lot of alt-right Reddit threads.
r/MILFs, what's this? Oh no!
What's on the incognito tab? Oh god, bestiality porn.
Yeah, r/the Donald. Oh, holy shit.
Goatsy.
Yeah.
.exe.
High Five comes out of the Reddit app being like, I learned some very interesting things about Jewish people.
Or he goes to rotten.com. He's looking at beheading videos.
In the Emoji Movie 2, the emoji's journey to best gore. Yeah. So many untapped corners of the internet that are not made full use of in this family film.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Anyway. Yeah, so then I don't even know where the fuck we are. Oh, actually, so they've left Candy Crush. You know what is a thing in family films? The Emoji Movie is by far not the worst offender of this, nor is it the first to do this. Sugar is drugs in kids' movies.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Like kids consume a lot of sugar and maybe get a little hyperactive and like can't take a nap or whatever. But like characters in kids' movies who consume a lot of sugar act like they're like on crystal meth. And I'm like, kids know that that's not how sugar affects you. Kids have sugar all the time. So I never get that. It's always such a weird thing in family films for me. When it's like, oh, they had a bunch of sugar, so now they're running around and acting all crazy. Which is what High Five's doing. And it's also a joke because he's fat. So he ate a lot of candy because he's a big fat guy.
Because he's fat James Corden.
Yeah.
Gene's parents distract the bots that are chasing everyone, the antivirus bots, by playing a cat video. And then they escape. Yeah. They go to the Just Dance app, and I don't know why, but they're in Just Dance now.
It's just now another ad for another app.
And we play Just Dance
and
on
Christina Aguilera plays the dance lady, a giant woman. To borrow from We Hate Movies. She's a giant woman. She's big, and she makes them dance.
Yeah.
And if they don't dance, they die.
Yeah.
Once again, they are threatened with death here.
Yeah, they're on platforms that keep disappearing, so they have to like dance their way forward through the app.
Yeah. And they're like, "What happens if we don't?" And Jailbreak literally says, "Digital death." And I was like, "Let's fucking get around to it then. Let's make it snappy. I would like to see some of these characters experience digital death."
And I think Gene's trying to get Jailbreak like into it. Like, yeah. And he says
anyone
the
can
line,
dance.
Throw some sauce on that dance burrito.
Yeah.
One of the great lines of dialogue in this amazing film.
I will say I did sort of commiserate with the character of Jailbreak here because she doesn't want to dance, and there's a life or death scenario where dancing is required or else her life will cease to be.
And you would rather die than...
I think in this situation I would have the Jailbreak reaction where it's like, well, I still can't dance.
Yeah.
Like I guess I have to just make peace with my maker now because I will not be leaving this situation intact. I will be dying in a dance or die scenario.
You won't do the emoji pop?
I'm not going to do the emoji pop. You know what? I would rather die than do the emoji pop.
Which is the dance that they do, and then they do it at the end of this movie.
They were really trying to make the emoji pop a thing.
They really were.
I bet a bunch of fucking 6-year-olds left this movie, and their parents wanted to kill themselves because of how much they were having to do the emoji pop.
Yeah.
The kids were like, let's all do the emoji pop now. Daddy, you have to do the emoji pop. Daddy, you're not doing it. Emoji pop.
I can't imagine any child watching this movie and enjoying it.
Yeah, I can't either.
Yeah.
But I think we also maybe are underestimating the stupidity that children are capable of.
That's true.
This is probably some kid's favorite movie.
God help that child.
Yeah.
The real emoji pop is the sound that a 45 is gonna make when I fucking stick it in my mouth and blow a bullet through my cerebellum after watching this fucking movie.
Call that the emoji pop, yeah.
Yeah.
They took away the actual gun emoji though. Now it's a squirt gun emoji. The gun emoji doesn't make an appearance in this film. Nor does the knife emoji.
That could have been a fun joke.
Yeah, there was a skull emoji, but we don't get any jokes with him. He's just kind of in the back.
Yeah, where like, I don't know, Gene is being threatened by the robots at the end or something, and he grabs the knife emoji.
That could have been
the gun emoji.
Yeah, it could have been a thing. It would have been funny if he grabbed the gun emoji and shot the bots with it.
Yeah.
But that's probably too violent for the Spotify commercial.
Alex deletes the Just Dance app because it's making music.
Oh,
and as it's getting deleted, like there are bots in there and they're trying to escape the bots.
Right.
High Five falls into the trash along with giant Christina Aguilera. And then Jailbreak and Gene make it to Dropbox and they're like, do we go through it or do we go back for High Five?
Yeah, the Just Dance app getting deleted, again, when I thought deletion actually meant something in this movie before we go to the trash and show that it doesn't. It was kind of funny to see that giant lady
just
like
fucking die,
scream in terror and like turn into a bunch of like little green pixels and dissolve. I was like, oh, that's kind of almost something where she's like, nah!
As the only world she's ever known crumbles around her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Truly seems like a horrific existence living in this phone world, by the way. Because it's like, yeah, this Christina Aguilera character in this Just Dance app is apparently totally dormant until someone turns the app on, and then she must dance. Like,
yeah.
she's like her sole purpose in life is to be peppy and lead people in dance.
And when she's not doing that, she slumbers like a giant for 1,000 years.
And when we're in the trash later, she is like she's like hunched in the fetal position weeping.
Yeah.
Which is like, again, I'm like, who is that for? Because kids aren't going to think that that's funny, or like kids are maybe going to be a little upset by that visual. And I'm like, it's strange that the Christina Aguilera giant dance lady is like weeping and crushed in the trash.
Yeah, they go to rescue High Five from the trash.
Yeah.
And there's the spam email there and the trolls.
The trolls are there.
It visually looks like, and then I haven't seen Inside Out in a while.
Yeah.
But it visually looks like when Bing Bong fucking dies in that movie or whatever, because this movie is just, again, Inside Out, but evil.
Bing Bong!
Yeah.
Fuck your life! Sorry, you said Bing Bong.
I think his name is Bing Bong.
Bing Bong!
What's that from?
It's from that video, gosh, what's it called? There's like the man on the street interviews from, I think it's somewhere in New Jersey.
Oh.
But it's like the guy who's like, what do you want to tell Joe Biden right now?
Oh.
What's up, baby? Take me out to dinner. You know that shit?
Okay.
It's like man on the street interviews from like somewhere in New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
And someone goes Bing Bong.
Yeah, he goes, fuck your life, Bing Bong. Apparently Bing Bong is a thing where they filmed those because like a bunch of people in the video say it.
Oh.
If anyone knows what this is called, hold on. It's the Emoji Movie. Nobody gives a shit. I'm just going to look it up. Hold on. 1 second. Okay. Wait. Bing Bong, New Jersey. Oh, it's New York? It's New York. Coney Island Ski Club Side Talk. So Side Talk is the name of the YouTube channel. And they went to Coney Island. And it's like, yeah, it's Coney Islanders. And a bunch of them are saying Bing Bong and shit. So mystery solved, and that was more interesting than anything that happens in the Emoji Movie. Bing Bong. Anyway, so yeah, they get High Five out of the trash.
Somewhere in here, Gene's dad has fucked off to the Instagram app to go hiding in France pictures.
Yes, it's funny that when they go into the Instagram app, at first it's just like the Instagram post, like as a big shiny projection on a wall, basically, and then you can walk through it, and then you can just go into the actual place where the picture was taken.
Yeah.
And this is where this also started feeling like just very low rent, extremely lazy Harry Potter world building to me, where it's like, what if inside the picture there's a little world? And I was like, okay.
I'd love to do that with Lean Beef Patty's Instagram.
Yeah.
I'd love to go into one of those where she's doing squats or something and be in that world.
And would you also be tiny like the emojis are and she would be big?
Maybe.
I would like to do that on some of those fucking viral Instagram posts where it's like a big sloppy cheeseburger or whatever.
Oh.
They cut it in half and a bunch of cheese comes out.
Yeah.
I would go into that Instagram post.
Okay.
Just bathe in a river of cheese.
Yeah.
Especially if I was tiny and the Instagram content was huge. Just get all roll in that cheese. And then, so the parents make up here.
Yeah, and it's Jean's dad is like, it's my fault that Jean is this way because
I also have other emotions.
Yeah, I can express other emotions, and it's funny that we're having this emotional moment and we're both only able to communicate our lines in monotone.
Yeah, maybe would have been funny if the movie had done it one time, but this is the 8th time this has happened in the movie. So then they're like, well, let's go look for our son.
So then they go to the Spotify app, and
Yeah.
No one mentions that Spotify CEO has investments in arms manufacturers or anything like that, which you can look up. He totally does. And we ride on a stream.
Yes.
A song that is streaming, and it's a stream, and we're on a boat.
Yeah. Hey, David.
Yeah.
The whole music stream being the whole conceit of the design of Spotify world. Did you think that was a good creative choice?
No.
No, me either. I think it's lazy and bad.
And also not representative of what Spotify's design actually is.
Yeah.
It would be like, oh, here they are pushing Drake on my homepage, even though I've never listened to a Drake song in my life.
Yes.
Because Drake always pays for his music to be, shoved down our throats with the Spotify algorithm.
They also didn't experience 90 seconds of unskippable State Farm ads.
Yeah.
Which they should have, since they were in the Spotify app. And also they should have been like, well, we're riding this one music stream, but then once this music stream ends, we actually can't pick the next music stream. It's just going to give us another one at random.
And we could skip 6 times, but if we skip 6 times within an hour, then we have to wait another hour until we can skip songs again. Yeah. We can't actually pick what song we're listening to. It just shuffles.
We started on the Led Zeppelin music stream, and you would think that it would keep feeding us more Led Zeppelin music streams, but then it was like, hey, because you're on a Led Zeppelin music stream, you want some Eagles shuffled in there too, right? That's the same thing. That would be a more accurate representation of the Spotify.
Oh, hey, I made this playlist, but Spotify's just going to add songs to it anyway that I didn't pick.
Hey, you want Billie Jean on this playlist, right?
It's fucking...
If I had wanted Billie Jean on the playlist, I would have fucking put it on the playlist myself.
It's fucking insane that Spotify's free app makes listening to music the most laborious and depressing thing in the entire fucking world.
Yeah.
And then I go on to like free Spotify on my computer, and it's like, I can pick whatever I want.
Yeah.
I can close out of the app and reopen it and not have to listen to ads. I got a fucking ad blocker the other day that completely skips over Spotify ads.
Fuck yeah.
So on my computer, Spotify just basically functions like it would for someone who's paying
that
for
rocks.
it. But the actual app is the worst designed, most cynical music product of all time.
It's really bad. Like SoundCloud has ads, but it's way better because you can actually like pick what songs you want to listen to and shit. The Bandcamp app is way better for listening to music than
Bandcamp
the Spotify
doesn't
app.
even play ads.
Yeah. You just eventually, it is like, hey, want to pay for that?
Yeah.
Which is fair. Artists should be paid for their work. Which is another problem with Spotify as a company, is that they barely pay their artists. People make fractions of a cent per stream. And it's dog shit. And anyway, they get to the end of the fucking music streams. There's a little whale that jumps over him at one point. The movie tries to make that a moment.
Yeah, we're trying to make something visually interesting here, and it's just
kind of not.
No.
And they're also gazing at each other in the boat in a way that felt like just so obviously stolen from the Disney film Tangled that I was like, they're just doing the Tangled thing without the song. Because there's that song in that movie. It's like, at last I've seen the light, and the characters are just like sitting on opposite ends of a boat and staring romantically at each other. They're just doing that here, but without the Disney song. And I was just like, okay, like this, it literally just feels like you fully lifted this from another animated family film and dropped it here.
Well, that's the thing with this movie is just recreating every other animated family movie to like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Just fulfilling these things like a checklist. And we have to make Jailbreak like sort of feminist in this.
Yeah.
And have her say a couple vaguely feminist
things.
They
give her 2 lines basically being like, men are always trying to take credit for women's stuff.
Yeah.
And that's like it. And I'm like, well, if that's going to be the thing with her character, like, let's explore that a little bit more. And the movie's like, nope.
Yeah.
We're moving on.
Any deeper themes or anything? Not here. Not to be found in this film.
Yeah.
She says something where she's like, women could only be the princess emoji or dancer emojis, and I want to be myself and not defined by my gender, even though I'm an emoji.
Yeah.
And not.
I also kind of think that it's horseshit that that's her attitude.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, she just like takes off the beanie and the goth wig and is just wearing her little princess crown, and like that's how she ends the movie. Because the whole movie, she's basically been like, "No, I don't want to be a princess," because she's
a princess. It's
she's
an important thing in the movie. Who gives a fuck?
But she's like, "Well, I don't want to be a princess. I want to be this other thing." And then at the end of the movie, it's basically like, "Well, no, she was the princess all along."
Yeah.
And she even does the thing where she whistles for a bird to come, which will, boy, oh boy, will we get to that.
Oh yeah.
But so she does all the shit that she's been saying she doesn't want to be defined by. She's like wearing the little tiara, she's whistling, and birds are showing up. And I'm like, okay, well, you're again undercutting your own message here, movie, because you said that she doesn't want to be defined by being a princess, but then that's exactly what you're doing to the character at the end of the movie.
At some point here, they actually go to rescue High Five. I think I probably skipped around and missed that, but who gives a fuck? The antivirus bots get upgraded by Smiler, and then they get chased all the way to Dropbox, and there's like the firewall to get into Dropbox, so they have to figure out the password to get in.
Yeah.
And they just keep saying stuff like Alex's birthday, Alex's mom's name, or whatever his password could be, and Gene keeps getting fried by the firewall because it's a literal wall of fire with a big face on it, and it shoots fire at him when he gets the password wrong.
Yeah. Because it's called a firewall.
Because it's firewall, so that's the joke that we're gonna make.
And while the montage of him getting blasted is happening, we could talk about the needle drops in this movie a little bit, because they're all bad.
They all suck.
They're all bad. This is maybe the one that made me the most angry. Is they're doing the firewall sequence. He's getting blasted by flames every time he answers the question wrong, and they do a little montage of it, and the needle drop is fireball. And I was like, literally, you didn't even apply any thought to this at all. You were like, what is the first song I can think of that has the word fire in it? And just picked that one. And we're like, that's what we're going with. I was like, there must have been a less obvious, more creative choice that could have been made here. And instead they were like, no, let's apply zero thought to this whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it sucks. It's bad.
The one that made me most angry, surprisingly, was when they go into the piracy app and there's a band playing We're Not Gonna Take It.
Oh, that one sucks too.
And I'm like, D. Snyder, I used to have respect for you. What the fuck are you doing licensing your movie to this song?
Yeah.
I know you fucking did Goofy Goober Rock for the SpongeBob movie, and I'm sure that made you a shitload of money. What are you doing? What are you doing licensing this shit to the Emoji Movie?
Yeah.
And also, he's been like going down the alt-right rabbit hole recently. I feel like he's been saying like pro-Trump stuff or anti-vax stuff, and I'm like, man, I used to have respect for you, D. Snyder. What the fuck happened to you, man?
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah. But all the other needle drops are just like the most, it's just generic radio pop that, you thought you forgot about.
Yeah.
And then this movie reminds you of them. Like, hey, remember when this song was popular? And then you just want to kill yourself.
Yeah. And so much of it is just, like fucking bland top 40 pop and like fucking Imagine Dragons core pop rock and shit. That's just, it's like rampant in this movie, and it is hideous.
Yeah.
I don't think any of it's actually Imagine Dragons. It's just Imagine Dragons coded.
One of the songs, it might be, I think it's the one that they dance to in Just Dance, and maybe it's sung by Christina Aguilera, actually. I don't know. I would guess because they got her for the movie, so maybe they licensed her song.
It'd be funny if she was like, "Yes, I will voice this giant dance lady, but you can't use any of my music. I draw the line at you using my songs for this shit."
But they played in Just Dance, and then they played at the end when we end the movie with the Emoji Pop dance number again.
Yeah.
And it samples, I think it samples "Take on Me."
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so awful.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. It's a bad movie. They get to Dropbox.
Yeah.
And they're doing the firewall thing. And eventually, fucking Gene is like, if I had to make a password for something, I'd make it a girl I liked. And High Five is like, well, when I was in the trash, I saw an email to a girl Alex likes.
Mm-hmm.
And so they fucking pull up the email and they're like, oh, the password's Addie. And he does the password. And the firewall lets him through. Part of the firewall thing is he also has to be making the right face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this entirely inside the phone logic, or is Alex's Dropbox password a word and also an emoji? And when it scans him, like, the emoji is part of the text that's being entered. This is what I was talking about that's, like, ill-defined. It's like, because one of the reasons that Jailbreak couldn't get through before, she says, is because she, like, couldn't make the right face. And that's why she brings him along. But then ultimately it seems like the password is just Addie and it doesn't matter what face he's making.
The thing is, Jailbreak wants to get to Dropbox to get on the cloud and get off the phone. And Gene is going there to be reprogrammed into a meh emoji.
And High Five's going to be reprogrammed to be a favorite.
Yeah.
Emoji.
But then they get there to Dropbox, and Gene is basically tells Jailbreak he's in love with her because I guess we're doing a romance in this movie.
Yeah, there have been like 4 scenes that they've looked at each other and their big animated eyes have met.
Yeah.
And by that, you're supposed to infer that they are now in love with each other.
Yeah, and he's like,
These little people inside my phone are apparently forming relationships and clearly fucking and producing offspring because the meh emojis have a biological child. I don't like to think about the little emoji people in my phone like falling in love and having relationship conflicts
fucking and sucking
and fucking and raising children. Like, I don't need all that happening.
Sorry, I'm just
in my pocket.
I'm just opening my incognito tab here for a second. Oh wow.
What's
Dear
that?
viewer, there is in fact emoji movie porn.
Oh god. What characters are we talking about? Who's fucking who?
Lots of Jailbreak.
Oh, okay.
Lots of Jailbreak. We got a
tracks.
little bit of Smiler.
Uh-huh.
Some of the Christina Aguilera Just Dance character.
Yeah. That also tracks, I think.
Yeah. Wow.
Any James Corden hand?
I didn't see any. I just looked at the first page.
Any Patrick Stewart poop emoji?
No.
But I bet if you searched Patrick Stewart poop emoji movie rule 34, you would find something. Somebody has depicted that little pile of shit with just a huge throbbing veiny cock.
Huge veiny cock made of shit.
Yeah.
His shit cock.
His shit cock.
Yeah. And then so Jailbreak fucking.
Now I'm just picturing because
Yeah.
you made me remember that that animated film animated property pornography is a thing. I'm just picturing them again wandering into some app on the home screen and being like, "Oh, Lois Griffin, what? Brian, stop doing that to Lois.
What's in the DeviantArt app?
It's Cortana from Halo getting plowed by Master Chief."
Raven and Beast Boy from Teen Titans. And Beast Boy's a horse.
Simpsons porn. Isn't he a little young for this? He didn't even grow up with that show. Anyway.
Can you tell that we don't want to talk about this movie? So Jailbreak fucking rejects him, and now he wants to kill himself.
Yeah.
So he's meh.
He gets rejected by a girl, and that robs him of all of his emotions, and he now can only be meh.
Hey, been there.
Which does feel like it's like a little unfair of the movie to put that on Jailbreak.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, fuck you. Like, she's allowed to like say whatever she wants in response to I'm in love with you and I think we should be together, right? If she's not feeling it, that we shouldn't then punish the character by like making her the cause of him being robbed of his soul. Like,
especially when the movie's been trying to sort of set her up as a feminist character.
Yeah, but it's like, well, you can be all women empowerment as much as you want, as long as you're only ever nice to boys who are in love with you. If you're ever mean to a boy who's in love with you, that's not okay, ladies. So he's all meh, and then he gets grabbed by one of the bots.
Yeah,
the bot shows up. By the way, the fucking Dropbox or the cloud, when they go into the cloud, it looks like an inverted color version of the city from Blade Runner. Like there's like all those like tall glass towers.
It's like a cyberpunk
shit.
City, but pretty.
But there's like a sky bridge that leads to just straight up Cerebro from the X-Men. The bubble thing with the chair in the middle. I was just like, this feels very Cerebro from the X-Men.
Nerd. Okay.
I am wearing my Shire shirt today.
Yeah.
So nerd is an accurate.
That's actually a pretty cool shirt.
It is pretty. My parents went to New Zealand and they went to Weta Workshop and got me the Shire shirt. Erebor. It's a map of the Shire from Middle Earth. Anyway, he gets nabbed by the bots. He gets taken back to fucking Textopolis.
Yeah, and Smiler's like, okay, well, we're still gonna fucking execute you.
And he's like, I don't give a shit. I have been robbed of all emotion because the girl I wanted doesn't want me back. So go ahead and just kill me. And High Five fucking comes to the rescue. And first his parents come to the rescue. First his parents are like, if you're gonna kill our son, you're gonna have to kill us too. And Eugene's dad is like, he's this way because I'm a malfunction too. And he shows his other emotions, and Smiler's like, great, I'll just kill all of you.
Yeah.
And then High Five comes to the rescue. He falls from the sky and fucking lands on the bot.
Well, Twitter saves the day.
Oh,
because
yeah,
Jailbreak is a princess,
Sorry,
and if she sings, birds will show up. So she does that.
Yeah.
She takes her goth wig and her beanie off, and then there's a princess crown. She sings a song, and then the Twitter bird, which feels really outdated now, because it would just be a giant brutalist X.
So the only time I did laugh, and I wasn't laughing with the movie, I was laughing at the movie. The only time I laughed was when the Twitter bird flew from the sky, turns to the side, is fully just the Twitter logo, and does the Twitter thing, like the little noise.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you fucking stupid movie from 2017. You don't know how bad you've dated yourself. Now it would just be Elon Musk would fly from the sky and be like, you're all pedophile. High Five, you're a pedophile. Jailbreak, you're a pedophile.
Oh. Trans people don't. I don't know. He doesn't talk like that.
No.
But trans people don't deserve rights. Oh, by the way, want to pay $8 to use Twitter? I mean X.
Elon drives to the rescue in a cyber truck, and it immediately fucking like the whole fucking side of the truck shatters as soon as he runs into something. Remember when he was doing that demonstration and he was like, this window won't break, and he like threw a fucking
yeah it was funny.
Yeah.
There's a guy around town I've seen, and it must be one guy driving a cyber truck.
The green one?
Oh, there's a green one?
There's a green one.
Okay, I've only seen the silver one.
Oh, there's also a green one in town.
Yeah. Hope they get in a car crash and die.
Wow.
Sorry.
Yeah. Dork-ass vehicle for dork-ass nerds.
Yeah. So Twitter saves the day.
They ride the
Twitter bird back through the phone to get to Textopolis, which is a real plot point in a real movie that was made by people.
The Twitter bird should also just show up from the sky saying slurs.
Yeah.
Like the Twitter bird should fly in just saying every single racial slur that's ever been invented.
Wow,
if it was a realistic depiction of
they should pop out in like text bubbles as tweets, and they go like, wow, let's see if we can report that. And then we go to report it, and then they get an email later. Hi,
your report has been considered or whatever is being looked into. The fucking Twitter bird should come down from the sky, turn to the side and a speech bubble should pop up, and it's just one of J.K. Rowling's turf-ass tweets. And Jailbreak and High Five are like, maybe we shouldn't take the Twitter bird.
We found that profile...
Is there a less transphobic bird that we can take?
We found that user I am a Nazi 88 hasn't broken any Twitter rules.
Yeah, do be like that on there.
God, let's fucking end this goddamn movie.
We can't take the Twitter bird. It's transphobic. Instead, we have to take the tentacle hentai monster from the 4chan app.
I'll show you the way. Protect your holes.
Yeah. I'll take you back to Textopolis, but not before I resize your fucking holes with my tentacle.
There's what in Textopolis? Lip emojis, my favorite. The lip bite emoji and the tentacle
Peach
hentai
emojis.
So
thanks, Glorgoth, the Vile. Thanks for saving us.
So they go back to Textopolis and they have their little showdown here. They fucking deactivate the big robot monster.
Smiler tries to delete him, and then they deactivate the robot, and it falls on her and crushes her.
And she's not dead because she has more lines of dialogue.
Yeah, because it's an animated movie.
Yeah, nobody can die.
And because Gene has all the emotions. He's like, Alex is like deleting his phone. The Alex stuff doesn't fucking matter.
No, he's just embarrassed by his phone.
He's embarrassed by his phone. He goes to get it deleted at the store.
The fake Apple store. Apple did not license anything of theirs to be in this movie, so everything is clearly supposed to be like iPhones and Apple stores, but they can't actually make it look like it or have the logo on it. But he basically goes to the Apple store.
So he's going to delete his phone. He sees that Addie's there, and he gets the pressure to text her while his phone's being deleted. And then he yanks his phone out and sends Gene's emoji, which is making a ton of different faces because Gene has all the emotions because that's the message of the movie.
Yes, and Addie's reaction is basically, wow, look at this weird-ass emoji that I didn't know existed. I guess I like this guy.
Do you want to go to the dance?
You sent me a weird animated GIF of an emoji cycling through a bunch of different faces.
Yeah.
We must be in love.
And then they do the emoji pop.
They do the emoji.
And that's the end of the movie because peace has been restored at Textopolis, and
Gene
works there now.
And once again, the resolution of this movie is be yourself so that you can do your cubicle job and be happy about it.
Yeah.
Right? If you're true to yourself in your little miserable cubicle, then that's your life's purpose instead of hiding your true self in your little cubicle job. Isn't that so much better?
Mm-hmm.
Right, kids? We all want to grow up to work in our little cube as long as we can do it with our purple hair. As long as people respect your pronouns in your little cube, that's all that matters, right? We don't need to restructure society and undo this horrible burden of capitalism that we've inflicted on ourselves. No, we just have to make sure that we call each other by the correct pronouns and that you can your appearance can be whatever you want in the workplace. And then we'll grind you, the gears of capitalism will grind you down, but it'll be okay. Because nobody's forcing you to be someone that you're not, right, kids?
You're free and an individual. And we're going to make your life a living hell.
Yeah.
That's the end of the Emoji Movie.
Yeah.
Do I have to ask you? Is it your turn?
I think it's my turn. I think you went first last time. Yeah.
Happy TGMEM-iversary, Justus.
Yeah, happy TGMEM-iversary. I only regret starting this podcast a little bit this week.
We've reached the end of the cinematic classic known as the Emoji Movie.
Yeah.
And it is time to find out. Justus.
Yeah.
Is the Emoji Movie the greatest movie ever made?
No, it's bad. It's bad. No, it's not the greatest movie ever made. The main thing that I have to say about this movie is that it is effectively nothing. This movie is nothing. It is vacuous. It is hollow. There is no creativity on display here. There is no soul in this thing. There is no artistic merit to any of this. Even the things that we've called out as not incredibly horrendous, like Maya Rudolph's voice performance, don't go very far to saving this thing or redeeming it in any way. as I was watching this as a 31-year-old man alone at home on my couch, it washed over me and left me feeling numb and empty, because that is what this movie is. It is a numb, empty shell of entertainment content with absolutely no substance to it whatsoever. It is dog shit, and I didn't enjoy watching it. David, is the Emoji Movie the greatest movie ever made?
Justus, this is vile, irredeemable corporate product.
Yeah.
That is all that this is. It has no artistic or redeeming qualities whatsoever. It has just noxious, evil, disgusting messaging for children. Beyond that, it is torturous to watch, and this is my second fucking go around with this thing.
Hopefully second and final.
Yeah.
I don't want you to watch this again.
I've had worse times watching movies than watching the Emoji Movie, I will say, but this is just one of the worst pieces of art ever made.
I would say it's not even a piece of art.
It's
I would argue that it does not
piece of
deserve
content.
the title of art.
Yeah, it's just it's devoid of anything redeemable or good. And it's just a maelstrom of pain and suffering, and makes me feel like that the human race is doomed and we all deserve to die. So no, Justus, I don't think it is the greatest movie ever made. In fact, I think it is the worst movie ever made.
I would agree with that. I would say the Emoji Movie is the worst movie ever made.
You didn't know there was a third option, bitches.
You thought it was a binary yes or no choice, you fucking idiot.
It's been a third. There's been three choices the whole time.
The secret forbidden third option.
The first movie on the podcast to earn the distinction of the worst movie ever made.
Yeah.
The Emoji Movie. Congratulations.
You know what cemented that for me?
Yeah.
That this is the worst movie ever made. When they're in the losers lounge and James Corden says goodbye to his fellow loser emojis, and he says it to the old lady, like the grandma emoji. He says, "Bye, Felicia."
Oh, for me, it was when he said #blessed.
Yeah, #blessed was also bad.
Yeah.
The Bye Felicia really, I was like, oh, I hate myself. You know what almost was kind of good, though? The 2 seconds of this movie when I thought that Gene was going to jump off that roof. After he finds out he's a malfunction, and he's sitting on the edge of the roof. Yeah. There's like a shot where it looks like he might jump off the roof for a second. And for those 2 seconds, I was happy watching this film. Because I was like, this TJ Miller fucking emoji might just splatter all over the pavement of Textopolis. That would have been something.
Yeah.
That would have saved the movie.
I would have loved to see him blow up in the Candy Crush app.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think all of the things that we talked about for our potential Emoji Movie 2 are better than and anything in the Emoji Movie.
Oh, you know, sorry, I'm looking at my notes and just remembering other things I hated. You know what else is bad in this movie?
Yeah.
When the Patrick Stewart poop emoji turns around in a Captain Picard Enterprise chair when Alex is deleting his phone and goes, "Red alert, red alert."
Oh, yeah.
That made me viscerally angry.
I blocked that from my memory, I guess.
It made me want to punch a hole in my television. How dare they?
And how dare I?
How dare you?
For making you watch the Emoji Movie.
Honestly, I don't think I've been angry enough at you on this episode. I feel like I have been rendered a little meh on this episode by how much this movie just fully robbed me of, like, my humanity for the last 24 hours. Fuck you. Fuck you for making me watch this. I hated this.
Yeah, it's a bad movie.
Yeah, fuck you.
Justus, TGMEM-iversary is continuing next week.
Yes, it is.
Thankfully, I think things are going to take a bit of an upswing in terms of quality. So what are we watching?
We're watching Paul Verhoeven's RoboCop. We are watching RoboCop next week. It will be just a pendulum swing of the highest degree from this episode.
And at least if we feel sad about capitalism and consumerism in that movie, it'll quickly be interrupted by a guy melting in toxic waste.
Well, and
people being blown apart by machine guns.
At least the movie's in on the commentary.
Yeah.
In RoboCop, right? Because much like the Emoji Movie, RoboCop is about how we all live in a late capitalist hellscape. However, RoboCop knows it's about that. Whereas the Emoji Movie shockingly seems not to be aware of that.
Paul Verhoeven should have directed the Emoji Movie. So then the emojis fuck, and then they take out guns and they shoot everyone.
Eugene's eyeballs pop out of his head when he is in the Candy Crush game, and then he explodes, and then the goop touches Jailbreak and High Five, and then they also swell up and their eyeballs bulge out and they explode.
And Gene is actually a metaphor for Jesus. I'm a renowned religious scholar and also a film director. So join us next week for...
What if there was sexual assault in this scene? I'm Paul Verhoeven. I love adding sexual assault to my movies.
What if Gene shot the internet troll in the dick? So join us next week for RoboCop, directed by crazy Dutch pervert and religious scholar Paul Verhoeven.
Yes, one of the premier action film directors of all time.
Yeah,
I know we were just kind of taking the piss, but you know,
if I met him, I would give him a kiss on the cheek. I love him so much. Thanks for joining us for another TGMEM-iversary episode. See you next week for RoboCop, and as always. Later, dipshits.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Greatest Movie Ever Made. Please remember to leave us a rating and a review, and to subscribe to the show wherever you listen. We appreciate you supporting the show and spreading the word. Tell your friends to listen, tell your enemies to listen, tell your mom to listen. If your neighbor has an unsecured Bluetooth speaker, connect to it and play an episode. You can follow us on social media at TGMEM_podcast. And if you've got a movie that you want us to talk about, send us an email at thegreatestmoviepodcast@gmail.com.